Well, welcome to practice. So, if you're not already in a comfy seat, go ahead and bring yourself into a seated position. So, you might be sitting cross legged, you might be sitting up on a chair, you might be sitting with your knees bent, sitting on your feet, but sit in a way that you're comfortable and you feel like your torso is fairly upright. And then, as you allow your eyes to close, begin to check in with how you're feeling today. So, notice if there are any particular places within your body that are tight or tense, or anything that you might be rehabilitating. Maybe there's an injury that you're working with. So, always remember that you can skip anything that we do if it's not right for your body today, and just allow yourself to rest or do something differently. All right, so we'll bring our palms together in front of the heart. Interlace the fingers, press the palms forward and up. Begin to reach up through one hand up through the other side, left and right a few times, gently tugging on your fingers as you lengthen up through each arm, down each side of your body, sensing into the low back. All right, as you let your hands separate, take them behind your back. Interlace the fingers there, squeeze your shoulder blades together, opening up across your chest, and then start to turn your head from side to side, sensing into the neck. All right, then after a few times side to side, then reach your chin up toward the ceiling and then down toward your chest. Just a few times lifting and lowering. All right, so now as you bring your head up to center, release your hands, let them rest on your thighs, and we'll do seated cat and cow here. So as you inhale, take your chest and your belly forward, your head and your tailbone back. And then as you exhale, tuck your tailbone under, round your back, and bring your chin toward your chest. Again, as you inhale, chest and belly are going forward, head and tail go back. As you exhale, tuck and round. 3 more times at your own speed. Another 2 breaths. All right, last one. All right, as you bring your torso back upright, take your right leg out at an angle to the side. So, not all the way out to the side and not straight forward, but somewhere kind of in between. And then start to walk your right hand down your right leg. And then you can stop when you get to a point where you feel a little bit of a stretch in the back of your right leg. And then let your left hand find your left shoulder, and we'll just start to circle a few times. All right, change directions. All right, then take that left arm up alongside your head. And as you reach with your right hand, squeeze and release the fingers a few times, as well as rotate through your wrist. All right, the next time you inhale, lift up. Exhale, release that left hand to the floor behind you, and then take your right hand over to your left knee. Take a deep breath in as you grow tall, lifting up through the top of the head, and then as you exhale, slowly twist to your left. Once your left shoulder doesn't go back any further, pause there from the shoulders downwards, but turn the head back over to the right. And then just allow your head and neck to turn side to side as far as is comfortable and possible for your neck, maintaining the twist from your shoulders downwards. Start to relax the muscles of your face and your jaw. All right, take one more cycle of breath. And then untwist back to center. Now we'll switch the legs. So take the left leg out, fold the right leg in, and remember your leg is just out at a comfortable angle. So not forward and not all the way out to the side, but somewhere in between. And start to walk your left hand down your left leg until you start to feel a little bit of a stretch in the back of that left leg. And then take your right hand to your right shoulder and start to rotate. A couple of times in one direction. And a couple of times the opposite way. All right, then sweep your right arm up alongside your head. And as you reach with your right hand, squeeze and release the fingers a few times, as well as rotate through the wrist. All right, the next time you inhale, lift up. And exhale, release that right hand to the floor behind you. Take your left hand over to your right leg, and then inhale, grow tall, lifting up through the crown of the head, and then exhale as you twist to the right. And then when that right shoulder stops, pause there from your shoulders downwards, but let your head turn back over to the left. And then just allow your head and neck to continuously turn side to side as far as is comfortable and possible for your neck. Slow, steady breaths in through the nose, expanding the chest, the ribs, the belly. Exhaling back up and out. Take another breath or two. And then unspiral back to center. All right, so we'll come onto hands and knees. As you come to hands and knees, just start with your hands underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips. We'll start to move the hips from side to side, so left to right. All right, and then move the hips forward and back. All right, the next time you take your hips forward, now go out to the left and back and over to the right and forward. So you're going in somewhat of a counterclockwise circle. All right, now the next time your hips go forward, change direction. So go out to the right and back and left and forward. All right, now the next time your hips go back towards your feet, go ahead and have a seat on your feet. Now you might keep your knees together. You might separate your knees here depending on comfort. And then bring the torso forward. Forearms might rest on the floor. You might take your head down to the floor. But take a few cycles of breath here, allowing yourself to pause in relative stillness. Feeling the parts of the body that expand as you breathe in. And where do you soften and let go as you breathe out? All right, one more breath. All right, bring yourself back up onto hands and knees. This time, taking the knees together, we'll lift the left knee up and out to the side, and then just start to circle through the hip. So your left knee is drawing a big circle in space. Try to keep your arms straight here so that the movement is really coming from your hip and not from elbow bending. All right, change directions if you haven't already. Then with your next inhale, reach your left foot back. Exhale, left knee into the chest, round your back. Again, inhale, reach back. Exhale, knee into the chest. One more, inhale back. And exhale, knee into the chest. So as you take your left leg back this time, cross it over the right leg, drop the toes, spin the fingers out, curve your spine to the right as you peek back at your left foot. Sensing all the way up the left side of the body, from the foot to the hip to the shoulder. All right, then as your torso comes back to neutral, pick your left leg up, step it all the way out to the side so it's directly out from your left hip, and then walk your hands in so that you can lift your torso upright. Let the left hand rest on the left leg. Take the right arm up alongside the head, reaching with the right hand. All right, one more full breath. All right, deep breath in as you lift up. And exhale, release your right arm. Step your left foot forward into a lunge. Take the right hand down to the floor. Scoot the right knee back a little bit to find a stretch in the front of that right hip and thigh. Now, if the pressure on your right hand is too much here, you could be up on a fist as opposed to a flat palm. If you have a block or similar, you could use a block underneath your hand to take a little bit more weight back towards the lower body and out of the hand that's on the floor. All right, so from here, left hand to left thigh as you start to gently twist towards your front leg. Hips releasing down and forward. Gentle engagement of the belly drawing in. All right, 2 more cycles of breath. All right, release to hands and knees. Once your hands are back underneath your shoulders and knees underneath your hips, tuck your toes under. Lift your knees, take your hips up into the air. Start to lift and lower your heels a few times. Bend one knee deeply as the opposite leg straightens and the heel drops toward the floor. Switching back and forth. Experiment with the distance between your feet. Notice how that changes the sensation in the backs of the legs in particular. All right, take a deep breath in and come forward into plank pose. So bring your shoulders over your wrists, lengthen from head to feet. Then as you exhale, lift back into downward dog. All right, release down to your knees, and one more time, sit back toward your feet. Again, you might have knees close together or knees apart. You can rest just on your forearms, or you might take your head down to the floor. Take 3 cycles of breath. All right, then rising back up onto hands and knees. Take your knees together once again. This time, right knee lifts up and out to the side. Start to rotate through the hip. Remember, try to keep the arms straight here so that the movement is really coming from your hip and not from the bending of your elbow. All right, change directions if you haven't already. All right, then the next time that you inhale, reach the right foot back. Exhale, right knee into the chest and round the back. Again, inhale, right foot back. Exhale, knee into the chest. And one more inhale back. And exhale, knee into the chest. So as you take your right leg back this time, cross it over the left leg, drop the toes. Spin the fingers out, curve the spine to the left as you're peeking back at that right foot. Sensing all the way up the right side of the body, from your foot to your hip to your shoulder. All right, now as you bring your torso back to neutral, pick that right leg up, step it all the way out to the right side so it's directly out from your hip. Walk your hands in, lifting up. Then rest the right hand on the right leg as you sweep your left arm up alongside your head. All right, then with your next in-breath, lift up. And exhale, release your left arm down. And then we'll step the right foot forward into that lunge. Left hand comes down to the floor. Again, it might be left palm. You could be up on a fist. You could have your hand on a block here to give yourself a little more support. Wherever the left hand is, scoot the left knee back just enough to find a stretch in your left hip and thigh. Right hand to right thigh as you start to twist toward your front leg. Hips are dropping down, belly draws slightly in and up. 3 rounds of breath. All right, after your third breath, release back to hands and knees. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips, tuck your toes, lift back up into downward dog. All right, another in-breath, come forward into plank, shoulders over the wrists, lengthen head to feet. Exhale back, downward dog. All right, 2 more of those. Inhale forward, find your plank. Exhale, lift back. All right, last one, breathing in. And breathing out. All right, walk hands and feet toward each other so that you come into your forward fold. Your knees can be a little bit or a lot bent here. Grab a hold of ankles or elbows, or maybe your hands are on the floor. Release the weight of your head, shake it yes and no. Relax your facial muscles, your eyes, your tongue. All right, take another full breath. All right, walk your hands slowly up the fronts of your legs, rising up to stand. As we come to stand, we'll do breath of joy. So step your feet a little bit wider than your hips. Have a little bit of bounce in your knees. In this breathing practice, we breathe in 3 times as the arms go forward, and then out, and then up. So in, and then breathing out as you bend your knees and sweep your arms back, breathing out your mouth. All right, so do this roughly 20 breaths. I don't usually count, somewhere around 20 breaths. All right, again, feet a little wider than your hips, have some bounce in your knees, and let's begin. Last one. And then pause, fold it about halfway forward, forearms gently resting on your thighs, torso elongated. Let your breath come back to a natural and easy rhythm and volume. All right, gradually rise to stand. Step near the back of your mat. Take a deep breath in as you come into chair pose. Press your hips back. Float your arms up. Pause here as you exhale and just release your arms down and back. Another in-breath as you float the arms forward. Exhale, release the arms down and back. All right, one more, breathing in. Now as you exhale, fold over your legs, walk out to downward dog. Hips up in the air. All right, release down to your knees. And then turn over onto your back. As you come onto your back, just start with your knees bent, feet resting on the floor. Step your feet a little bit wider than your hips and just softly sway the knees from side to side. All right, let your left leg straighten along the mat. Take the right knee into the chest, give it a gentle squeeze, move it a bit from side to side. Rotate through your right ankle. Wiggle and move the toes. Especially if you've been wearing shoes all day, it's nice to really check in with all of your toes and all the many joint surfaces in your foot and ankle. All right, and then take this right knee over toward the floor on the left. So maybe it comes to the floor. Maybe you have something to place underneath it like a block or pillow. And then take the right arm back over to the right. And as you come into this twist, you might tuck your right foot behind your left knee to give that whole leg a little bit of support in that way. See which way your head wants to turn. And then allow yourself some relative stillness here. So, of course, the breath is always moving. But let yourself drop heavy into support. All right, one more cycle of breath. Then as you guide that right knee back through center, keep the right knee bent, but now drop it out to the right side and take the bottom of that right foot to your inner left thigh, sort of like a tree pose, but you're laying on your back. And then imagine that you're standing on your left foot. So activate your left foot and ankle. Imagine that you're pressing your foot into a surface. So that whole left leg starts to energize and wake up. Take your arms up alongside your head, interlace your fingers, flip your palms so they're pressing away from your head, and then press your palms away from your left foot and your left foot away from your palms. So you're stretching long through the body and then press that right foot into the left leg. So legs pressing into each other, left foot pressing into an imaginary surface, palms pressing away from the head. Take a full breath in and out. And relax. All right, so we'll switch sides. Straighten out that right leg. Take your left knee into your chest. Give it a gentle squeeze. Move it a little bit side to side. Rotate through the ankle. Wiggle and move the toes. Try to move all those joint surfaces, all that are possible. All right, then take your left knee over toward the floor on the right. So you're just rolling onto your right hip to do that. And then your left knee might come to the floor. It might want a little bit of support underneath. Maybe you have a block or pillow you could place under your left knee. And then take your left arm back over to the left. So that left arm and left knee are melting away from each other. And again, you might tuck that left foot behind the right knee for a little bit of support for the whole leg so it stays slightly more neutral. See which way your head wants to turn. And again, let yourself drop into relative stillness. Feeling the breath flow in and down toward the belly. And back up and out through the nose. One more cycle of breath. And begin to guide that left leg back through center. Keeping the left knee bent, now drop it out to the left side so that your left foot comes to your inner right thigh. Now imagine that we're doing this tree pose, but we're standing up. So start to activate and energize your right leg, your straight leg. Flex the foot so the toes are pointed up toward the ceiling and you're pressing that right foot away from your head. So lots of activation in the right leg, ankle, and foot. And then interlace the fingers. Press the palms up away from the head so that now your palms are pressing away from that right foot. And the right foot is reaching away from the palms. Press your left foot into your right leg so that the legs are pressing into each other and the right foot is pressing away from the palms. Lots of muscular activation in the body. Take a full breath. And exhale and relax. Letting it all go. All right, let that left leg straighten out. Take your arms down to rest alongside your torso. If you're not comfortable laying fully flat on your back, if you've got a pillow or a blanket you can roll up to put under your knees, oftentimes that can help. But we'll just be here for about a minute. Now, as you allow yourself to rest in stillness of Shavasana, corpse pose, start with some awareness of your breath. Flowing in through the body and then flowing back out. Now, each time you exhale, let yourself get heavier and heavier. As you continue to drop heavily into the floor on each of those exhales, allow your attention to scan throughout your whole body. And if you find any parts of the body that are still tensing, still gripping, give them the chance to relax. Now, if you have more time in your day to stay in this position for even another 5 or 10 minutes, allow yourself to stay in stillness. If you need to move on to whatever is next in your day, when you're ready, slowly start to wiggle your fingers and toes. Deepen the breath, emphasize the spacious expansion of your inhale. Exhale out the mouth. Begin to bend your knees, walk your feet in. Roll to one side, Pause for a breath or two. And then when you feel ready, press yourself up and into a seated position. And as you come into the seated position, bring the palms together in front of your heart. As we bow to the light within ourselves, we also bow to the light within each other. Thank you again for practicing with me, either live or on the replay. I'll see you again next time. Bye bye.